Hello YouTube! We are here with yet another helmet review. Spoiler alert, the outcome of this one is going to be much different than the outcome of the last one that I uploaded. So a few weeks ago I reviewed the Ruroc Atlas 3.0 helmet and I ended up being pretty disappointed in the helmet, and I talked about that in the review. That review absolutely blew up. I had no idea it was going to blow up like that. I guess I had said a lot of things that people were waiting to kind of hear the honest take on that helmet. There was a lot of really great discussion that came out of that video. I think we're over 1,000 comments, and this channel just absolutely exploded. I think I had like 6 subscribers before that video, and now I have almost 500. So thank you all to all the new folks that are here to join us for this review. So when that video blew up, Scorpion actually reached out to me and said, hey, we love how honest you were with your review. We'd love it if you would review one of our helmets. And they were super great. They said, you know, if you want to give us a really super negative review, we're all about it. We're not going to ask you to give us a positive review. We're not going to pay you to review this thing. We just want to hear what your thoughts are and be totally honest, and we think that would be really rad. So I said, what the heck, let's give it a go. I'd be happy to check out your helmet and give it my best honest take. So that's what we're here to do today. And I have the Scorpion EXO-R1 Air Carbon. This is a race-ready helmet, and it's actually in the same price point as the Atlas 3.0. Very interesting comparison between those two helmets as far as what you get for your money. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first thing right off the bat, this is a really good looking helmet. I have to say I was never really interested in the Scorpion helmets based on the pictures that I saw online, and I have to also admit I wasn't super knowledgeable on the brand. They were just kind of always off my radar a little bit. So, you know, nothing had really, you know, jumped out at me as saying, ooh, that's a really good looking helmet. But when I get this helmet in hand, it's a really good looking helmet. This is the gloss carbon fiber finish. Honestly, the finish on this helmet is excellent. It looks super, super good in person. I don't think any photos do it justice, and I'm pretty sure my video is not doing it justice either. So maybe you just need to go look at one in person. My initial first impression picking this helmet up, other than, wow, this is a really pretty helmet, was this is a very lightweight helmet. It feels light in the hand. That's because it's roughly 1,200 grams, which is the lightest helmet that I own. The Ruroc Atlas 3 is about 1,500 grams, and so is my Arai Corsair that you probably see off to the side of this video, and we will do a review on that helmet soon as well. So it is a very lightweight helmet. We'll go ahead and get straight to the good stuff, which is the pads, of course, as we learned in my last video. And I have to say, I'm really, really, really impressed with this helmet in that aspect. So this is kind of a unique setup. The cheek and nape pads, this is all one giant assembly on this helmet. And it comes out all in one piece very easily. I do really like the snaps that they use to install these. They're very tough, and I know that I'm not going to break any of them, so I'm really appreciative of that. And it's a pretty slick installation as well. The chin curtain as well is a very clean installation. The fit and finish on the pads and how they fit into the helmet is very impressive. I have no issues installing or removing anything. They all fit very nicely, nothing falls out, and it's very clean. Now, this is one of the Air models, so below the cheek pads, up against the actual helmet itself, there's little air bladders that you can actually pump up or release air from to adjust the fit of the cheek pads. I found that the fit for this helmet was perfect going on, so I don't really have a need to use those. I did test it out and it works pretty well, so maybe if you are, you know, racing or on the highway or something like that, you might want to go ahead and give it a couple pumps just to snug it up a little bit. I didn't find it necessary, but it is a very novel feature. And that was a big issue I had with the Ruroc pads, as they were very thin and felt kind of pointless. They didn't feel very substantial or well planned. I do like that a lot of helmet companies are starting to offer customizable sizing pad solutions that are baked into the helmet itself, so that you don't have to order different sets of pads just to try to get that bespoke fit for you. The air bladder is probably the most novel solution I've seen, which I think is really neat. Arai has pads where you can actually remove some of the foam inside the pad if you wanted to with little tearaway strips. That's an interesting take as well, but good job to Scorpion for kind of thinking outside the box on that one. For me, it's just not useful. Onto the visor for this helmet. It does come with the clear and the tinted visor. Obviously, I have the tinted one on now. Very easy to change the visor on this. There's actually a latch mechanism that's built into the helmet, so you don't need any tools to change the visor out at all. It was actually a little bit difficult for me to install the dark visor on this helmet, only because I couldn't see the pins through the darkness of the visor to align it. It probably only took me an extra 60 seconds though to figure it out and actually install it, so not a big deal. Pretty clever mechanism for the install, so good things to say there. The visor also has a centrally located mechanism to open and close. This took a little bit of getting used to on the bike. I fumbled with it a little bit. I had the tendency to actually rake my fingers and get stuck on the point that separates the visor mechanism from the actual vent mechanism, which that's probably a good design choice. That way you're not accidentally opening your visor when you're trying to work the vent or whatever. But so that was just a little bit of a learning curve. I also found it's pretty tight, so it's definitely snug when it's locked. So when you go to open it, you use quite a bit of force to open it. The darker visor seems to have a slightly tighter fit than my clear visor did. Not a big deal, but it is a little more force for me to open this one while I'm riding. But it's not too much that the helmet is, you know, lifting off your head or anything like that when you're trying to open it, but it is very secure. So I know it's not going to open unintentionally. I do not have the pin locks installed yet. I do like that these are also pin lock ready helmets when you buy them, so that's great. I found that the field of view is also really good on this visor, and it's sufficiently dark. I've had a couple other visors that I didn't think were dark enough. You know, in these bright summer days, you'd still find yourself squinting under the helmet, so this one is quite good in that aspect. I will say I did have the initial impression with this visor that it was a little flimsy. And I don't mean that in necessarily the mechanical, you know, quality way, but it seems to be a little thinner, or at least it's more flexible than the other visors that I'm used to wearing. Again, not a big deal. It doesn't affect anything operationally with the helmet, but it was just something that I kind of noticed offhand. So I don't know if that's common to other Scorpion helmets or other helmets in general, but that's just a note that I made when I had the helmet in hand. So it's definitely summer in Texas right now, and it has been very hot lately. We are regularly hitting 100 degrees or more, and the heat indices are much higher than that, and it's pretty humid. So this has been getting a lot of hot weather testing. I've been using this as my daily helmet for the last week and a half, and I can tell you it does flow air pretty well. I haven't gotten too terribly roasted in the summer in this helmet. It also controls air very well. So you can tell because when you come to a stoplight, you start getting very warm very quickly until you open the visor, and that's because this helmet is controlling air like it's supposed to. I think it's because the pads are a single piece design, so it's very difficult for any gaps to kind of start opening around the neck roll area. And you can tell because it gets very warm when you're sitting at a stoplight, because there's no air seeping in through all of these other places. I cannot say the same about the Ruroc. That was actually a pretty cool helmet to wear, but that's because it was very poor at controlling airflow and air seepage through the neck area. But this helmet is very, very comfortable when you are at speed because the vents are all doing a very good job. And I've been really pleased with the performance as far as wind noise goes. This is a very quiet helmet. I was a little, shocked, to be honest, at just how quiet it was. I think it might even be the most quiet helmet that I own. I took this out on one of the local highways, which I consider to be the absolute worst as far as noise goes and wind goes, because it's a very open highway. There's usually a lot of wind buffeting and kind of a crosswind condition. It's just very unpleasant. And I ride a naked bike, so if there's wind, I'm gonna know about it. This helmet was great. I didn't hear any weird whistling noises. I didn't hear any screaming noises with the wind. You can definitely hear the wind, but to put it in perspective, in the Ruroc helmet, I couldn't even hear the exhaust on my bike. And on this helmet, I can hear the exhaust, I can hear all the notes of my music, It's absolute night and day between those two helmets. So yeah, very quiet helmet. Good job, Scorpion. The aerodynamics on this helmet also seem to be very good because it's a very stable helmet at speed. I also found, doing, shoulder checks, looking for traffic, I didn't have any weird experiences where the helmet was tearing me in that direction or anything like that. And I ride a bike that has a little more of an upright position. I'm not typically riding in a full tuck, so I didn't know how it would perform, but it actually performed very, very well for me. So I'm certain if you ride in a more tucked position, this helmet is probably going to be very stable for you as well. You'll also notice that I do have my Sena installed on this helmet. Sena install was very easy. The outside of the helmet shape is very conducive to installing it, so I was able to use the clamp mount, absolutely no problem. Went in very easily and I was able to position it where I wanted it. The speakers were easy to route, and the speaker cutout holes in this helmet are excellent. The speakers that come stock with my Sena 50S fit perfectly in the little cutouts, and they just kind of almost clip into place. So very neat, very quick installation on the Sena comms unit, so you won't have any issues there installing communications on your Scorpion. You'll notice that we do have the emergency pad removal system, fairly standard on most helmets now, but again, good to have, so make the note. Also, you'll notice that we do have the standard D-ring configuration for the chin strap. These are actually titanium, so they're a little more lightweight than what you would find on other helmets. Does it make a difference? I think it's probably fairly negligible, but if we're trying to shave off a few grams here and there, that's certainly one way to do it. But, just a small detail, not too much impact to the actual rider experience. So I think that covers most of the talking points on this helmet. My overall impression of this helmet is extremely positive. I absolutely love it. I think it's a perfect daily helmet. For the price, I think it's a great deal. You're definitely getting your money's worth out of this. If I'm being completely honest, putting this up against another helmet priced in its range like the Ruroc Atlas 3.0, you really can't even make that comparison. They're night and day. It is so obvious that this is a better value helmet. So again, I'm not paid to say that. I am not sponsored or anything like that, but my honest opinion, again, absolute night and day between those two helmets. This is a great value helmet. I think it deserves a look if you're looking for your next track day helmet or even your daily commuter helmet. I think this helmet is going to meet the needs of a lot of different kind of riders. So, different riding positions, different kind of bikes. I think a lot of people can be happy with this helmet. I'd love to hear what you guys think if you ride Scorpion helmets or if you have experience with this helmet. Let me know in the comments below what you think and what your experiences have been. Hopefully that will help other people make informed decisions when it's time to buy their next helmet. So I think the next review that we do is going to be on the Arai Corsair X. So a lot of people will be very excited to see that beautiful Nakagami 3 helmet on the screen, but you guys are going to have to wait a little bit for that. Also, I'm getting a lot of requests for other types of gear reviews. I'm thinking about potentially doing some reviews of some of my other gear, my boots, jacket, things like that. So let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe below so you don't miss the next one.